many of you know by now, Auditography is a worldwide name for filming and shooting Audi cars in unique places on Earth with a special filming style. There is never any speech in the videos, and I'm always trying to present the cars in the best possible and breathtaking way so the viewer can make their own opinion what to think of them. But I do make exceptions sometimes when it's on a very special occasion and when I want to show you my true inner feelings straight from my heart and my soul. I did a Living with Your Ultimate Dream Car Auditography special some time ago when I presented my own Audi RS4 B5 Avant that I own since many years now. Today, some years later, it's time for another Auditography special. You see, there has always been a car that had me have that huge one factor since day one. Not as high as the B5 RS4, but a very safe second place. It was always on my dream car list since the day it was presented, and I told myself I gotta own one someday. And now, I do. And in my dream spec. And that's what this video is all about. I'm gonna tell you another story about a man and his dream car. Jeremy Clarkson once said, "I've got a sneaking suspicion that I'm sitting about 4 feet away from one of the greatest engines ever made." And Chris Harris described it as the definitive RS model from Audi. I'm talking about the iconic Audi RS4 B7 in the sedan version and the most wanted color, Sprint Blue. When it was presented back in 2006, I will never forget that one photo that I saved as a wallpaper on my laptop for years. It was a Sprint Blue one with those extremely wide wheels that for years and years ahead were one of the hottest Audi wheels on the market and everybody wanted them. The RS4 B7 had that so famous Audi 4.2 liter V8, but this time they managed to put out an insane 420 horses, which was 100 horsepower per liter with no forced induction, and back in the days, that was sensational. The media couldn't praise this car enough. They said it steered properly, it rode properly, sounded heavenly, had some amazing ceramic brakes, and it was an amazing car to drive. And I was watching all those reviews when it was right up there with its rivals the M3 and the C63 over and over again. I realized Audi had created a very unique machine that made its predecessor, the B5 RS4 Avant, very proud. A few years passed after I bought the B5 RS4 Avant, and I started to look more and more seriously for a B7 RS4, but this time in a sedan. Don't get me wrong, I do love the RS Avants, but that photo from the reveal of the RS4 B7 sedan in Sprint Blue never left my head. I looked for several years for a Sprint Blue one in mint condition, but nowadays they are very hard to find. I normally spend most of my days in Europe, but many months per year I'm in the Middle East in Doha, Qatar. One day I was driving my Q5, I almost fainted when I spotted a Sprint Blue RS4 B7 sedan on the streets. I turned the car around and drove after it, stopped the owner, and I must have looked like a crazy person being lyrical over his car. This was the only RS4 B7 in the country, so I was absolutely shocked to even spot one. The owner bought it new in Kuwait and then moved to Doha some years later and imported the car with him. I can't believe I own the top two of my absolute dream cars. I really have to pinch myself. I've had the B7 RS4 for 2 months already because I wanted to fix some things before I revealed it. There still are more things to be done until it's in perfect condition, but the most important things for me was that it was in absolute perfect mechanical condition. The interior is basically untouched, and the exterior just needs some touch up here and there, some small dents to fix, and then it's pretty much one of the most mint RS4 B7s in the world. I have already installed a Miltec non-resonated valved exhaust together with Miltec downpipes to make that V8 sing as loud as it can, and oh boy it does. Just listen to this. The interior of the B7 RS4 is to me one of the best interiors that Audi has ever made. The build quality down to the smallest details is just immense. You really feel how much effort was put in here. That Lambo steering wheel is one of the coolest spec you could get, and yes, I know some of you like the bucket seats, but to me I actually prefer these seats because I think they are more comfortable. The B7 RS4 and the B5 RS4 are like night and day compared to each other. They both have a manual 6-speed gearbox, but the similarities end there. The B5 surely is faster when those two turbos kick in and you just get pushed back in your seat in a way not many cars can do, and it's also easier to tune. But the B7 makes it up in many other areas. The sound of the naturally aspirated V8, that torque converter and 40/60 torsion quattro system that make the car more agile and make it dance around when the road turns. The B7 RS4 really is special. The car has so much soul, and I just love the way it looks. It surely is one of the best looking four-door sedans ever made. Just look at those wide wheel arches, that aggressive front, and come on, we all like big butts and we cannot lie, as a certain rapper said. No cars of today can touch it in terms of feels and the smile you get on your face when you're driving it. If you would ever have a chance of driving one, do it. I promise you, you would never let it go. What I also noticed driving and testing the following RS4 generations B8.5, B9 and B9.5 is that they never really had that much soul as the B5 and the B7 RS4. Back then, when you drove a B5 or a B7 RS4, you felt like you were driving something out of this world and very unique. Today, when you drive a new 2021 RS4, you just feel it's more of a fast S4 than a rough RS4. But that's mostly because the automakers today are very limited with all the regulations. Well, back in the day they had free hands, and that's why they could surprise the world with a crazy machine as the B7 RS4. Those who follow me on social media do know that I drive all possible new Audis on a daily basis. RS7s, RS6, R8s, RSQ8s, you name it. We are heading into a future with less feelings and souls in our cars. So much electronics and everything is being done for you. You as a driver is less and less involved. Yes, I do appreciate the modern technology and I respect it a lot, but I'm the type of guy who wants to be one with the car when I drive it. I want to feel it. I want to hear it. I want it to make me smile from ear to ear. I want to feel special in it. And that's not really possible with cars of today. Not in the same way, and it will never be like that again. And therefore, I feel like the happiest person on the planet owning two of my absolute dream cars. I'm not saying everybody should drive older cars because technology needs to move forward. But I definitely suggest each and every one of us that has a possibility to should own an iconic diamond in the garage that we could take out on a weekend, grab that manual stick, floor the throttle, and hear that engine roar like music to our ears. And most of all, have that huge smile on our faces. We are coming to an end of this Auditography special. If you also have a dream car, please let me know in the comments. And for now, I finished this video same way as I finished the first one about my RS4 B5. Far ahead in the future, you will see a man that can hardly walk and see driving around in his RS4 B7. And that man will be me.